question too, as we're sitting here again with some of our select young adults of Revelation Missionary Baptist Church. And so what we'll do, we gave the introduction in our discussion one, but what we do, we have 4 new, should we say, willing vessels, we'll call it. And so again, we'll start by just taking 30 seconds or less just to introduce yourself, first name and a few other things.
All right, my name is Atzalea Ray. I go by Leia. I am 31. My family dynamic, I have one daughter who is 3. I would say my career is a little bit of everything. I am a recreational therapist. I'm a hairdresser. I do everything at Raleigh Rehab. My hobbies, as I've been a single parent, I have not had any hobbies as far as what I like to do. What I choose to is make sure that my daughter goes to parks and has sensory programs because she is autistic. I have dedicated my career as well as my life to my daughter. I have been a member of Revelations Missionary Baptist for about, I would say about a month. And as of right now, I am not a part of any ministry.
Yeah, all right. Well, give it time.
Well, don't have me a part of the car.
Okay. I am Serenia Bishop. I am 35 years old. My family dynamic, I am single. I do not have any children. I am cohabitating right now. My parents, I grew up with my mom, single mom. A little bit further down the line, it was my mom and my stepfather. I have sisters, 3 other younger sisters. My career, I am a therapist, I am a trauma and addiction specialist, and I'm a professor. And my interests or hobby, I'm kind of all over the place there because I'm still figuring out what it is I like to do, still exploring things. I like outdoorsy things. I like to camp. I like to, I like to glamp. And I am learning to sew currently, so anything outdoorsy, I'm trying it. I have attended RMBC for about the past year on and off. I have not become a member, but I feel like I'm getting closer. I do not currently officially participate in any ministries, but I love the young adult ministry.
All right.
Okay. My name is Melanie. I'm 33 until Thursday. I am single and I have a 4-year-old son. I'm the youngest of 4. I have 2 older sisters and an older brother, as well as being an aunt. I have my parents. My parents are still married. Career, I'm a program analyst at FEMA. My hobbies, I like to shop and anything that has to do with beautifying the self, the soul, I have been coming to RMBC. I think I started coming almost as soon as I moved down here, so probably like August of last year. I joined this past Christmas. I am in the young adult choir. Sometimes I sing with the women. And I also serve as the vice church secretary.
All right then. So my name is Sheena. I'm 40, and I am married. I have 2 children. They are about as old as I am, 15 and 17. My job, I work for a company. We make things for the military. We make the flatware, we do mattresses, we do for military, DLA, government, stuff like that. And I'm also a musician. And my hobbies are the arts. I like theater, poetry, anything dealing with arts. I'm a big fan of that. And I've been at Revelation Missionary Baptist Church. I'm like Gabby, we've been here 13 years. No, I've been here 10 years. She said 13. I got here when she did. So, and so the ministries I serve over, I am the minister of music here at Revelation Missionary Baptist Church. I served as music director, and then January 14th of this year, did my initial sermon. I became minister of music, so I sing on all the choirs. My favorite choir is the young adult choir.
All right, yeah, they won't let me in, so it's not my favorite.
Well, that's right. They're about to kick me out. Because I can sing.
All right, so let's get into it. This discussion, do you still agree, or maybe, I don't know if you ever, with some of your early upbringing, custom or belief? We'll start with you, Layla. Since the time you were a child, in your opinion, what traditional social or worldly things, such as heterosexual marriage, being married, to have a child, not living together before marriage, working a 9 to 5, going to college, or even going to church, anything else, that, in your opinion, that should no longer be considered as normal or necessary? I'll start with you, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. So I feel, because I have been raised by a single parent, my mom has never been married. She has been in a very long-term relationship. I'm originally from New Jersey, so it is a common state law. She's been with my stepfather for 20 years, but they are not married. So growing up, I would definitely say, for me, as I made the same mistake, raising a child without a partner being present. You know, my father, my biological father, was physically there, but he was mentally there, but he wasn't physically. He would stop in, you know, on weekends, we would hang out on summers, things like that, but growing up, I never understood it because of the simple fact that my stepdad was in the picture. You know, we would go on family outings and things like that, so for me now, I feel like to have a relationship outside of a marriage is unnormal. And I say why is because it's hard. You know, as a single parent, it's hard to try to be the doctor. It's hard to be the educator. It's hard to, you have to be everything in one, you know, and it takes away from the other parent where if it's a 2-parent household, you can work together. You know, I'm the disciplinary, I am the doctor, I'm the nurse, I'm the therapist, you know, and then on top of that, with our generation, it's a lot of, you know, different type of disabilities. You know, Christian is my first and only child, and she was recently diagnosed with mild autism, but to not understand how to process and how to educate someone that has a disability that doesn't understand, it's everything on me.
So you were saying that, so it's still necessary, in your opinion, to,
Yes.
we'll agree with that or disagree?
I agree with that. Because like I didn't say this, but I grew up with both of my parents. And I just think that when you do, I kind of like Gabby said in the last thing, you see how things should be. So I think it's normal. I don't think it should change because I think you're more well-rounded, in my opinion, if you have both parents. Because I have traits of both of my folks. And that's because, you know, sometimes my mom didn't understand what I might be going through, but then my dad did. And so you have 2 parents you can go to.
So why is that no longer, I would say, normalized? You know, that we're all over the place, right? The traditional family is no longer normal. Why?
Because people say they don't need somebody. Like, I hear women say, I don't need a man, I got God. And I'm like, yeah, but
All right, so God is
I couldn't understand that.
Or,
I think that people in our age group try so hard to just do the opposite of what we've been taught, simply because we just don't want to do what is traditional. Modern, or like traditional, has become almost like a curse word. And so anything that our parents and before used to do, we don't want to do that. Not because it doesn't work, but because it's just, I just don't want to do that.
Oh, so if we said, hey, the new normal is, you know, homosexual marriage, then you would do the opposite.
I ain't with that. No
Some
way.
people like
would
just
know,
being
yeah.
rebellious,
Yeah.
just for the sake of doing it.
I think, you know, some of those things are also just like, we want to find, like, see for ourselves. And sometimes I also think that because of the normalcy of sex before marriage, you end up in a situation where you have a child before you're actually married, or you're in a long-term relationship that doesn't actually lead to marriage.
So sex before marriage is now normal.
It has
Yes.
become
It has.
I think it was normal before. People just
We
didn't.
just didn't acknowledge it.
Yeah, because people just didn't, like now, people talk about, you know, I got it. And I no disrespect to single parents, my sister's one, but some people just are really like glad about it. You know, it's almost like you did something great. And my sister was like, I didn't do anything great. I don't hate my kids. But she said, but I also won't go around and go, I raised them up by myself and I'll do it again. You know, it's glorified, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this on a similar note. Christian biblical beliefs that you question, you know, as you got older, you know, of course, you know, traditionally, as we said, you know, going to church, Christian values, beliefs, biblical beliefs, anything that you, as you got older, that you questioned, had doubts about, or just didn't agree with?
I would say yes. And something for me that has been in question because I did have a single mother was the idea that a man has to lead a household. And I also think that was because, you know, for a while I didn't have a dad in the household, so I didn't see it as necessary because my mom led our household. And so I will say a drawback of that was I didn't realize the necessity of having a man in the household and what a difference that could make. And so I did not see that as necessary, and I kind of questioned that, like why that was.
That's interesting. So, anyone else?
Yeah, I think one thing that I question, and sometimes I still wrestle with this, is why bad things happen to good people. You know, sometimes you hear people's testimony about how God has done this, that, and the third for them because of their obedience or their faith. But then you hear about a tragedy, and it's like, well, what kind of God would allow something like this to happen? And it causes you to question God's goodness, whether or not He cares for you, and sometimes even His very existence.
I would definitely say I never questioned as far as me growing up, I never was in the church. My mom, she believes in God. She believes, you know, Jesus Christ died for our sins, but she never actively went to church. My best friend of 25 years, she got her parents to go to church, and then they started asking, hey, come to church with us. You know, at this age, I'm 14. You know, I'm in high school. I know nothing about the Bible. I know nothing about, you know, the 10 Commandments. And I know that sounds crazy, but that was my upbringing. Yes, we prayed over the food. Yes, we prayed going to bed. But as far as being active in the church, I never saw that. So when I did start going, I felt at that point, there are so many rules that you cannot do. And it was like, you're obese. That's a sin. You know, you think about, oh, that guy is cute. That's a sin. You undereat. That's a sin. So it was like, okay, you know, every step that I ever took, I felt like it was like, well, what am I doing right, or what can I do right? You know, because at that time, we're teenagers. Yeah. You know, and it was just like I felt like it was a battle because, you know, not understanding this is the way of God and this is how you should be, as opposed to living of the world.
Growing up, as compared to now, when you think about Christian, do you think growing up it seemed more rigid than it is now, or is it still rigid?
I think that as you get to, develop the relationship for yourself, and you read the word for yourself, and you get to know God's character, it doesn't seem so scary. It doesn't seem like these are the rules. I mean, granted, there are conditions that we have to meet, you know, in order to live a godly life, but it doesn't seem so stringent as an adult. I think because I'm growing to get my own understanding.
All right, let me throw this one out, and maybe we'll start with you, Sheena, since you'll probably have to think the farthest back. Think about
Not as far as you, Chief.
think about your first experience of freedom. You know, for a lot of times it's probably, you know, college, away from home. What was it that you just couldn't wait to do? And was it worth doing it, or do you regret doing it?
So, my first Taste of freedom. I don't think that far. I really don't. I came up here to Raleigh. I came to the Rehabilitation Center for the Blind. And so, honestly, I don't know why. I just thought it was cool to use profanity because I couldn't do it. But they did it in the movies. Okay. Act like y'all didn't if you want to. But
I'm free. Let me
I'm
curse.
free. Let me curse somebody out. Hey, I didn't want much out of life. I knew I couldn't, because think about it, I was 18, so I knew I couldn't drink, right? And I was, and my brother lived in Raleigh, so I couldn't slip to the bars because he filled up bar taps. So I couldn't slip in there and drink because I went to the Irish pub to get a Coke, and there he was. So I knew this, but I knew, I was like, okay, I can use some profanity. So when I did, and somebody made me mad, and I realized I was good at it, it really wasn't worth it to me because when I had done it, apparently she was blind, but she had some traumatic stuff going on in her life. And so when we got in an argument, she was literally scared and she felt threatened. So no, it wasn't worth it because what happened was I had to go back home for 2 weeks. So that meant
Go back home and explain why you're home.
And my mom was like, why? That's a 3.5 hour ride between Raleigh and my mom and dad's house. And my dad's driving. And I got my headphones on. And my mom said, you take them headphones off, I want to talk to you. She fussed at me for 2.5 hours.
Question is, did she curse at you?
No.
Anybody else? What freedom? What was it that you just couldn't wait to do?
I think mine was just wanting to be able to make my own decisions about where I go and what time I come in. I thought I wanted to. When I got to college, I really thought I wanted to. And then I realized that, the things that I was going out and doing, I wanted to go out and go to a club, and I wanted to be out with my friends. And I realized the whole time I was there, I wanted to go back home. And I guess I just wanted the freedom to make that decision. And when I got that freedom, I realized you really were on to something by having me in the house at a certain time. So I think that was it, just keeping me out of certain places.
Let me ask you this then. I want to throw this one out. It's been said that adult means being self-sufficient, which can convey doing whatever must be done to financially get what you needed. What things might well-aged adults, I'm calling myself an older well-aged, so what things today may we consider morally wrong to do to make income that you don't think is that bad? And we'll go either, certain, because, I won't put my opinion in it, but of course, I guess now OnlyFans is okay. Yeah, and I can only imagine if we would have, in my day, had an OnlyFans page. But what else? Are there certain things that you feel we feel age people say shouldn't be done to make income? But
probably.
Go ahead.
I don't know, because I feel like for me, it's about moral. For me personally, one person might say, I'm okay with stripping, because I need to make ends meet. I need to bring in income for whether it's myself or my family. Or it could be selling drugs, or illegal substances, any type, whether it's bootleg movies or actual drugs. For me, I don't feel like I would do it. As far as for me to make extra income, I'm door dashing. I'm serving. I'll be a bartender, and that's easy money that you can have as a supplement.
So let me ask you this. So you said that because of course we only had illegal drugs to sell, but now I guess what CBD is legal to sell.
Yeah.
I'm sure we would probably still consider that to be morally wrong. To have a pharmaceutical CBD shop. What say you? Is it okay?
Depends on what you're doing with it.
Yes.
I'm just saying, is it
No,
okay to own one, work one?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that if you're you know, helping people who are legitimately in pain and can't afford like the surgeries is like $8,000 a limb or a ligament or whatever that is. You know, but if you just got somebody coming in and they look just wide-eyed and all that stuff, you know, you ought to be able to say, look, I'm not gonna sell to you.
I might have a different perspective of this just because I'm a clinical addiction specialist, but I also feel like I don't think that's morally wrong just because CBD is an extract of a plant, and that's where a lot of our medications come from that are perfectly legal, and people take medications all the time. So if CBD is an extract and it is natural and it removes the THC, the part that gets you, you know, inebriated, then I feel like it's just like any other drug. You know, we give pills that have opium in them to relieve pain. We don't condone the sale of heroin.
So do you, and I'll ask you this, do you think maybe well-aged individuals, we think things are morally wrong because we're not well educated and no one has educated us on certain things?
Yeah.
But I think too, some of y'all did a little bit of was it dabbling back in the day? And you're speaking from experience. I mean, I know that all y'all got some bones in your closet. So, I'm just saying. No, I don't think it's. I mean, I know that a lot of times with each generation, you think that you're the first to do this. And one thing my grandmother says, there's nothing new under the sun. So anything that's been going on now, it's only been more publicized because we got social media. But it's been around for years. So I don't think it's a lack of education. I think it's maybe I did this back in my day, and maybe now I've just come to a point where having done that, I can see that being in that altered state is not something that is good for you because I function a lot better as I'm older, not so high. You know what I mean?
So the freedom we have to do it. So I can get CBD, you know, and I can get the, like she was saying, the opium, you know, pills and all that. And it was something that back in the day, folks had to, you know, if you were doing that, you wasn't gonna take a picture of yourself high and stoned out of your mind and all that stuff. But now it's okay, and that's why people have an issue with it. That used to not be something you bragged about, and now you just it is.
So again, you know, so any other job, you know, thinking about jobs, you know, and like I said, that CBD pharmaceutical sale. But what else? Is there anything else that's morally that we would age adults would consider morally wrong that you say it's not wrong?
I actually think your view of OnlyFans might be a little bit skewed. Because OnlyFans is, you know, just what you see publicized is not so great, but OnlyFans can also be used for good because the channels and the pages and the things you choose to feature is entirely up to you. And it can be a paid subscription to something that you just know a lot about, and people find it valuable, and they will pay you for it to see you talk about it live.
Well, of course, you know, most of our our influence comes from what we don't know, right? Just from what we hear, and that's what we do. Let me ask you this, lastly, if you were to do a self-evaluation of your life compared to your hopes and dreams you had as a child, what one major thing has not happened, or what is it that you probably maybe disappointed about when you do a self-evaluation of yourself from when you were a child to now?
Well, I mean, I did not imagine being a 33-year-old single mother. So I don't want to stick with this mindset of it's a disappointment because it is what it is. But this is just not where I saw myself at this age.
I didn't see myself working in the factory. I saw myself in a law office or on stage, but career-wise, I'm not where I thought I'd be as a kid. I'm also not working at KFC, which is where I wanted to work when I was like 6.
Hey, preaching. Wait, I don't know if it's preaching.
That was what I
What about you?
I would definitely say a little bit of everything as far as my relationship. I am currently in a relationship, but it has been currently ongoing for 5 years. And I definitely would say my career. You know, I do have a passion for the elderly. I have been doing this for 8 years, but I feel like right now, where I'm at right now, I feel like I want to evolve, but where? You know, I'm currently in nursing school, but I do not like it. I thought I would, but I'm already committed, so I'm not going to waste my money. So, I feel like everywhere in my dynamic, I feel like I would be more evolved at 31. You know, financially, relationship, children. I didn't think I wanted children, you know, and then 29, boop, there she is. Oh my goodness, you know. So, I'm blessed, and I definitely thank God for the position that He has put me in, because I couldn't imagine getting pregnant at 22. I didn't even know what I was doing at 22, you know. So
I honestly can't think of one thing right now that has happened that I would not have wanted to happen, and I think it's just because of the opposite. Like when I was younger, I did not have a lot of direction. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and as I got out and I was like going to college and I kind of focused in on who I was and what I liked and what I didn't like, I've gotten to a point where I'm doing what I love and I'm paid to do it, and it's developed into mentorship, and it's gotten me so many more connections and people that I love. So I think it actually went in the opposite direction for me. Before, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and now I do, and I'm doing it, and I've been doing it for a long time.
Content, Sheena? You content with your life?
No.
This is a yes or no question.
No.
Why?
You said it was a yes or no question. I am not content with my life. Oh, how much time you got?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I'm not content with my life because, as I said in my previous answer, I am not doing what I want to do full time.
Content with your life? Yes or no?
No.
Why?
So career-wise, I'm great. But I think it's just that missing piece in my family dynamic, especially because I have a son. You know, we're missing that integral piece of our family. Yeah.
Content with your life?
I would say yes, comfortable, not so much, but pretty content when I think about it overall.
All right. And uncomfortable in what aspect?
Just relationship transitions and things like that, just uncomfortable, but I feel like because I'm pretty solid and I know more about what I want, then it's gonna come.
All right. Content?
I would say no, because I am continuing to grow, whether it's spiritually, mentally, going out and seeking more stability as far as my career-wise. Yeah, that's it.
All right, okay. Well, listen, thank you all so much. Yeah, unfortunately, we've come to the end of our discussion number 2, and so we look forward to number 3. We're going to look at it from the perspective of the ultimate young adult, a young adult named Jesus. What social and relational problems did he have? But again, thank you so much, and I hope it wasn't too daunting, and I look forward to our next chance to get together. But again, thank you.